Over the last year, I've run marketing strategy for 10 artists at Las Aguas, and we've posted over 350 pieces of content, leading to results like these. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to plan your artist strategy and what mistakes to avoid so you don't waste effort or miss opportunities. Then we'll look into the exact easy steps you can do to translate this plan into action, all using real examples we've seen work at our label services company, Las Aguas Productions. Then how to translate that into something real, how to use it to make money, and finally we'll cover the top places where we see artists going wrong with their branding. Of course, to have an actual professional strategy, you should be hiring experienced professionals to help out instead of wasting time that should be spent on music. That being said, it's good to understand what's happening and you might not be able to afford it. So let's get into it. All the time we see artists posting and working really hard on their socials, but it's not getting anywhere. And usually this first step is actually the main problem. First, you need to get an idea of what you like and who else likes it. First, make a mood board of visuals. This is really easy. You should be looking at what kind of framing you like, what kind of colors, fonts, all that kind of thing to understand your visual language. Here are some examples that we've done with clients. This is not only completely necessary if you're going to be working with videographers or editors or producers, but it's also useful to print out and have next to you so that as you work, you can look at it and make sure you're not losing track of the image. Second, and this is obviously connected, but it's defining an audience avatar. So that's one person, one specific person who your music is for. Here's a couple examples for artists we have worked with or are currently working with. The idea here isn't to limit your audience to this person, but choose what kind of fan and customer you want and be able to check your consistency. This is a major difference between professional and amateur brands. You might be looking at this and thinking, but my music is for all kinds of people, or my music is for people over 25 as well, but in this audience avatar, it says it's only 25-year-olds. That's not at all the point. Hopefully, everyone can connect with your music, but if you're writing a newsletter or you're editing a reel and the person you've described in this audience avatar doesn't absolutely love it, you're probably going wrong somewhere. And to reiterate, that's not to say that other people wouldn't love it. It's just that this person is a north star of consistency in your brand. One more thing that I don't see talked about as much, even though it is an absolute staple of great branding, and that is language. Choose specific words, punctuation styles, everything that when it's written and when it's spoken, best communicate the feeling that you want to express with your fans. For example, with Sabalu, one of the artists we're working with, we don't use any capital letters and we use American spelling consistently. For Lemon we go way more towards satire and dad jokes and these kind of ridiculous things. And for both of those, first of all, it makes the writing process so much easier because we understand sort of the perspective that we're writing from, but also it gives consistency to the brand so you feel like this is one voice that's speaking to you, even though maybe it's us speaking for those artists, or it's those artists speaking on different days, or Lemonize a band. So if the different people are writing, then they can follow these guidelines and it still feels coherent. Before we get into exactly where you should put your time, I want to take a brief moment to explain how we view strategy at Las Aguas. Strategy isn't like, what time should I post? What should I be posting? It's understanding the direction that you're going and why you're headed there. For example, when you're building an audience on social media, is that what you're doing because you've been told that that's the right thing to do for independent artists, or because, for example, you just want to sell loads of tickets to shows, you just want to do a lot of shows? If it's the latter, is what you're posting, the reels, the carousels, the stories, everything, not just communicating, I have a show coming up, but why the audience should really love that show, why they would want to have that experience of coming to your show. So it's really important to understand exactly where you're headed. Artistry is a career that's fueled by passion, and it's really easy to get lost in the day to day of how many posts do I need to do and how many likes am I getting and all these kind of like sort of meaningless things when you should be focused on the strategy and not losing sight of practically the dream that you're working towards. So here are some examples that hopefully you can use of how strategy has differed for our different artists. Let's say your goal is getting more listeners, which by the way is a fairly useless way to measure success. If this is your goal, you just want to post really frequently across major social media channels, consistently showing snippets of your song. Let's say your goal is doing more shows and selling more tickets. In this case, you should be marketing the feeling of your shows through video and thoughtful collaborative events with other artists or venues. Let's take a different approach. Let's say your goal is selling merch. Here, you should be giving more energy to your website, of course, your mailing list, the actual offers you make, and longer format things like YouTube that are sort of more built for connection than TikTok or Instagram Reels. Those are just a few, but to see a longer list of goals and approaches, we have a free PDF in the description, specifically made for independent artists. And it's a full marketing guide that has all of the information from this video. And it goes into more depth on things that I didn't want to include in hopefully what's going to be a short video. Before I move on to the next step, there's a really important mistake that we see artists make all the time, and you really, really want to avoid. Artists often want to maintain a sort of mysterious image, like Frank Ocean or artists like at the start of the 80s. And honestly, the media landscape is entirely different. It can be okay to do this, but we always recommend against it. There's a sort of sliding scale between I'm a super mysterious musician, no one knows anything about me, and I never post on social media, and it's really hard to even find information about me. And it's sort of like a sexy idea, I think, for artists. And the thing that accompanies that is it's going to take me forever to find the audience that I actually want to find. It's going to take me 10 years to actually make an income that lives off my music. Sliding all the way down that scale is artists that post every day. They have all of their intimate details about their life on social media, and they can probably make an income fairly quickly, but I think that career path is less sustainable. At Less Hours, we recommend sort of being on this half of this slider because we're not only looking for, of course, income that you can actually live off, but a sustainable career. And sort of as you move more this way, it's more sustainable, but longer term. So if you have money to play the long game, do it. But we've brought on lots of artists at Las Aguas, and never once has more presence been a movement away from their goals. So yeah, there's a balance to be found, but at Las Aguas, we suggest this side more and not at the extremes of either side. Okay, so now you have an outline for your brand. Next is actually how to execute this. The key is consistency and preparation always. So make the most of your shoots by planning a bit. What's the shots you want? What are the song snippets? What are the video hooks? What are the end goal videos that you want to make? Have that plan before you head into the shoot day. Don't improvise. Next is actually executing this. The key here is consistency and preparation. So, for example, always plan your shoot days 100% before doing them. What snippets of the songs do you want to have clips for? What shots do you want? What edits do you want? What's the hook of the video you're going to be posting? This is a little bit overwhelming at first because there's so many different options. So here are all the apps that we recommend for each part of it and why. But to start, just make systems that are repeatable and do what you can, then grow as you become more confident. Here are 4 repeatable systems for marketers at every level. Level 1 is just learning. Post once a week, A/B test your content on Instagram, that's trial reels, or by posting a few weeks apart on your YouTube and TikTok. Dedicate one day a month to filming content and do regular sort of low-level shows like open mics. This is honestly a really easy step, but we recommend starting at it even if you've done a lot. Stepping this manageable start can often lead to inconsistency or, in the worst case, burnout. This is where we started too. Only through lots of work and literally doing hundreds of videos have we moved up through these levels. Once you get level 1 down, up the frequency, start posting 3 times a week. If you're doing this, it's worth starting to track what's working, what's not working. Again, in that PDF, there's a whole list of metrics that you really should be tracking to get a real understanding of your marketing. Also, start sending people to sign up to your newsletter or mailing list and start messaging them every once in a while. Level 3 is amateur. Do everything in the last 2 steps, but start experimenting with more difficult types of promotions. So this means cold contacting radio stations, magazines, cultural news sites, messaging bands for opening slots, making quarterly sales offers, and track your customers' LTV. This level can be a little overwhelming, but if you're at the stage, it's probably a good point to start looking for help before you get on to level 4, which is pro. This is everything you're doing in the other 3 levels, plus daily posting and varying your posts per platform. So that's doing a slightly different post for Instagram and TikTok and YouTube because you know what works on those platforms. Dedicate a day every month to just doing admin and networking and start running meta ads. This is a good stage to start tracking your CAC to LTV ratio, which is a very important metric if you want to grow your music business. Honestly, if you're here, you probably don't need to be watching this video. If you're doing a bunch of this stuff, but you're not doing stuff in the early levels, go back and start with the earlier levels. Before moving on to the actionable steps, I want to take a moment to direct you to our YouTube channel where we're going to be doing a series of videos like this as sort of an educational resource for independent artists. Upcoming videos include how to set up your web presence so you're not losing out on potential fans, 20 different content types and how to apply them to your artist image, and a guide to filming gigs so you're not wasting your time and money. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on all of these free resources that are coming. And with that, on to the last part before we get into the common pitfalls that we see many artists doing. Let's take a quick look at how to sell. So, when, what, and why should you be selling? This is a vital part of your music career since if you don't have income, you're going to run out of time. First is when, as often as you can make a really exciting offer, ideally once a month. Second, what? This goes back to your audience avatar. Are your fans older creative professionals that like jazz? Maybe sell a cassette or a vinyl. Are they younger people who want to go out for a party? Sell them tickets, maybe with a drink included. Third is why. This is not just a chance for you for income, it's a chance for your fans to interact and strengthen their connection with you. If you don't sell, there's a limit to the depth of connection and experience you can really provide as an artist. Through lots of projects, we found the more creative and unique an offer, the better they sell. So here are a bunch of unique merch items you can use to make your offer special, and here are some more digital focused offers you can make. Of course, if you do any of these, please let us know how it goes in the comments. A common worry we see with selling is maybe you don't want to take advantage of your fans. It's really important to remember here, you're not trying to convince someone to buy something. And if you are, there's something seriously wrong with your project. People who love live shows want to buy tickets. And if they don't, if they want to stay at home, make it possible for them to engage as well with buying a vinyl or watching a live stream. If you as an artist are providing entertainment for people and if they don't like it, they won't buy it. And that's totally okay. And that brings us on to some of the common mistakes you want to avoid. One of the biggest worries you might have is that you don't want to annoy your fans by posting a lot. We've run lots of campaigns with very heavy posting schedules, and we've run a few that have very few social media posts, and we've learned that never, the latter never works better. So to that worry, we say you will be forgotten. 100%. You will be forgotten. And that's totally okay. If you're posting about a release a month before it comes out, It's gonna be forgotten. Your fans and your listeners have lives. They've got to remember to pick up their kid from school or to pack a lunch for work, or they've got to do taxes, and all of those things are way more important to their life than your music, and that's totally fine. That's completely normal. It's worth reminding people that you have something to sell them because maybe they were on your checkout page and their boss texted them about a missed deadline and they got distracted. So you need to remind people, they will think about other things, and if you remind them, they will come back. Another mistake we see all the time is artists wanting to really curate their social media. And when they have a new release coming up, for example, they'll archive all their posts. Please don't do this. It's a good guide when you're thinking about this to try to consider the fan. If it's someone who has no idea who you are, they're coming to your social media for the first time. If you've archived everything, you're asking them to do loads of work to just figure out who you are and what you do. It's good to have all the information there, really easily accessible, just so they can actually get into your project and become a fan, not just someone who saw a reel one time. And the other side of this is if someone's visiting your website, they probably know who you are. Don't waste that precious landing page with an out and out text because they probably already know that. If they didn't know who you are and they don't know about your music, they wouldn't be on your website. So those are the two most common and biggest mistakes that we see. I hope you come away from this video with some great notes, some concrete plans, and a better understanding of how to brand your artist project. All of this information is in a free PDF in the description, so check that out if you want a step-by-step guide that will guide you through the first 3 levels that we went through in part 3 of this video. And if you're interested in leveling up and having real professional marketing, get in touch. We provide full label services at Las Aguas, all the way from songwriting to sales and events. We handle branding, content strategy, release campaigns, and all the execution. So if you want that professional touch, check out the website, see what's right for you, and get in contact. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you here for the next video.